particular morning. I remember that Tanya looked disheveled. Her hair was rough as though she had been in bed all night, yet she hadn't stepped into her room. I think I saw hickeys on her neck, but I am not sure. I wonder who that stupid idiot is. I hiss. If that stupid giant hadn't appeared, my plan would have worked. Though my plan to make Tanya's breakup public and disgraceful has failed, that doesn't mean I have given up. In fact, it is the exact opposite. I am more determined than ever. Angrily, I decide to go to Brandon's place to come up with a solid plan. On my way out, I am too distracted by my thoughts that I crash into Tanya. We both ignore each other, and I go my way. I glance at my wristwatch and realize that Tanya is home early, which is very suspicious. Tanya loves her perfumes and often works in the shop till Malik has to make her go home. What is she doing home by this hour? I ask myself. I sneak back inside and watch as Tanya dashes to the bathroom with great speed. She is probably pressed and needs to use the bathroom, I think, to myself and make to leave. But then again, I reason, the shop has a bathroom. Why will she come home to use a bathroom? I am suspicious of her, and I hide by the door. Soon, Tanya comes out of the bathroom with a terribly scared expression on her face. She dashes to her room and dashes out of the house. When I am sure she isn't coming back, I come out of my hiding place and rummage in her room. I know it. I yell as I find a freshly used pregnancy strip. She's pregnant. A plan speedily forms in my mind, and I call Rick, the rich businessman that adores Tanya. It is time to make another deal. Sayadi. Marco's point of view. Just stop, Manuel. I growl at my inner wolf. He has been whining for the past 30 minutes about why I have let the girl go without getting any form of contact information from her. Why do I need to know? I ask. Because she's a nice girl. I hear Manuel's voice, or rather, feel Manuel's voice. Manuel is my inner wolf and my most faithful companion. From the time he manifested, we've been inseparable and we share everything. Although he has grown to be a little independent from me, we both share almost the same feeling, emotions, and thoughts. His minor independence means he can nag as much as he wants, which is exactly what he is doing at the moment. Since Manuel is a part of me, I can hear his thoughts as though he is talking to me, though there is no voice. He can also hear my thoughts, but sometimes I speak out loud. You're always cold and terrifying, Manuel keeps mumbling. If you keep this up, you'd probably end up alone. Alone? I am amused. I have you. You know what I mean. Manuel scoffs, or rather, I imagine him scoffing. You need to be warm and open yourself up to people. You are always like a wall of ice that no one could penetrate, while Eric is a bundle of joy and warmth. That's probably why Lily. Manuel. I scoff. Whoops! Sorry, Manuel suddenly stops his mumbling, realizing I am still very sensitive on that particular topic. He is flustered by his excess of words and coughs a few times to cover up. On the bright side, I never really liked Lily, even though she's your fated mate. Lily always seemed to have weird energy around her that I'm not comfortable with. So I'm quite glad she's not with you anymore. You are? I chuckle, surprised that Manuel has such keen interest in my love life, which is the perfect reason for you to make friends with this new innocent girl, Manuel insists. Even though she is weak and has no wolf, there's something different about her. She's special, unique. I can feel it, and I like this girl better. Manuel is right. When I was inside her, I felt a strong, inexplicable connection between us. I don't know why I feel this special connection when it is clear that Lily, not her, is my fated mate. Lily is gone, man, Manuel continues. You need to move on from her. Why don't we explore the pack? Who knows, we might run into the girl. You're too noisy. I am indifferent to Manuel's passionate speech. I didn't even realize I'd spent 2 weeks here. I guess it's time to go back to the capital, but I could take a look around this pack and not because you mentioned it. Of course, Manuel cackles, and I can clearly detect the sarcasm in his voice. I sigh. Ignoring his sarcasm, I stand up and take a shower, don nice clothes and step outside. It is refreshing to breathe in the fresh air and have the sunshine on my skin, so I take a walk around town. For some reason, I am attracted to a nice perfume shop at the end of a street. Maybe it is because Lily is an excellent perfume designer, which leads me to pay more attention to perfume stores by habit, and even now I can't break it. I walk inside this shop, and it is lined with many different perfumes, but when I sniff bottle after bottle, my brow furrows. Most of the perfumes in the shop smell very similar to the perfumes that Lily designed. However, those perfumes designed by Lily should not be available for public sale. How can this shop have these perfumes? Then, to my greater surprise, I smell a familiar scent. It is faint at first, but it gets stronger with each passing breath. It is Lily's scent that I smelled on that girl. I trace the scent to a small bottle of perfume hung at the end of the cabinet. I am quite surprised that their scents are exactly identical. Oh! A man saunters towards me. Welcome to Malik Perfume's shop. I'm Malik. You smell anything you like. Could you tell me the designer of this perfume? I ask, staring at the small bottle of perfume. It's Tanya. She's a perfect perfume designer in our shop, Malik replies, but I'm afraid that isn't for sale. I mistakenly hung it on the shelf, but she's created almost all the perfumes in this shop and you can make your pick. I gaze quite intently at the perfume, and he must think that I like Tanya's work very much. That is probably why he feels compelled to tell me how talented and awesome Tanya is. He praises her with extreme enthusiasm and tells me her story. Malik calls a girl at the other end of the shop. Where's Tanya? I didn't see her when I came back. She seems sick, Clara replies. She's been vomiting since morning. If you ask me, I would say she's pregnant. That's impossible. Malik laughs. She's a virgin. My gaze shifts at once from the perfume to Clara and Malik. Although I wish it weren't true, I clearly hear Clara and I understand what it means. My voice grows colder as I speak. Where does she live? How end? So ad. Tanya's point of view. Even though I see the result, I cannot believe it, not to talk of accepting it. How can I be pregnant? It is impossible. I quickly dash out of the bathroom and shove the strip into my closet. I need fresh air to clear my mind, so I dash out of the house and take a walk. I can scarcely believe my ill fate. It seems the universe is out to make my life more pitiable than it already was. Everyone still believes I am with Brandon, and then I turn up pregnant. Brandon will obviously deny the pregnancy with Alina as a witness. What would then become of me? After walking aimlessly for an hour, I decide to go back home and sleep it off. It might be a nightmare that will disappear when I wake up from sleep. I walk back home and instantly know that something is wrong. Richard, Maya, Alina, and Brandon are sitting on the couch, obviously waiting for me. Alina has a cold, sly smile on her face, while Brandon would not even look at me. And I know I am in serious trouble. Would you mind explaining this? Maya says, Dad, please. I wail, unable to believe that my family will do this to me. Don't send me to Rick. I will die. Your fate is sealed. My father replies, his voice cold and angry. Father, just as I am about to continue pleading with my father, a sharp knock on the door cuts me off. The sharp knock on the door rings again, accompanied by a greasy voice. It's Rick! My heart sinks with that sound. My first reaction is to run away. But this is my home, and where can I escape? Even though I know there is little chance my father will change his mind, it is my last hope. Please, believe me. No, Cub, Richard says in that same indifferent voice. You lie. His words carry a tone of finality that weighs me down. My father gives me his final trial, and this is my fate. Don't cry, princess. Rick chuckles and moves closer to me. running his rough, scaly hands on my face. "I'll take care of you." I close my eyes and recoil from his touch. At that moment, it feels like I've just been thrown into a deep, inescapable well of despair and hopelessness. Despite all the hardships that I've faced in life, I always have a positive outlook. I believe that I will pull through, and I just need to find the silver lining, that this is the end of my pitiful life. There is no light at the end of the tunnel, just darkness. Suddenly, Rick's nauseating touch disappears and is replaced by his painful groan. I slowly open my eyes to see what is happening. When I open my eyes, Marco's blue, beautiful eyes gaze back at me. I initially think I am dead, and gazing into the eyes of an angel, or I'm having a hallucination, so I can escape my painful reality, until he speaks, and I realize that it is real. "Are you okay?" he asks, and I slowly nod, still confused about his sudden presence in my house. Marco moves swiftly, and Rick yells in pain, crumpling to the ground. "How dare you?" he yells. "You dislocated my shoulders." Marco merely turns towards my startled parents, totally ignoring Rick, who is writhing in pain. His gaze sweeps through the room and falls on the strip which is on the table. He stares at it for a couple of seconds before he addresses my parents. "My name is Marco. I'm the man that impregnated your daughter." "What?" Richard yells. "Rick is lying." Marco cuts off Richard. "I'm sure he would tell you the truth if he doesn't want his other shoulder dislocated." He's right," Rick groans in pain, having no choice but to be honest. "He tells the whole truth. He's telling the truth. I never slept with her. I just want her for myself regardless." "There you have it," he says. "And I will be Tanya's husband." I gaze at Marco as though I'm seeing a divine deity. His voice is just as calm as his face, placid even. It is as though he is unaffected by the environment, like a cold wall of ice that nothing ever penetrates. Even when my father locks his gaze with him, Marco doesn't flinch. He is unruffled and shows no emotions. "You come to my house, break the arm of my guest, and you expect me to believe your words?" Richard asks in an extremely angry voice, but absolutely does not ruffle Marco. Usually, any wolf in the pack that stands before Richard is quaking with fear when Richard gazes at them, but Marco is unbothered by the devilish gaze. "Dislocate," he corrects Richard calmly. "Not break. You insolent fool. Get out of here," Richard yells, backing his words with immense powers that make everyone in the room shiver with fear. Everyone except Marco. I cannot believe the scene that is slowly unfolding before me. Richard is the most powerful wolf I know. In fact, I believe he is the most powerful wolf in the whole world. Other wolves quake in fear before him, shivering and cowering in fear whenever he unleashes his full wolfish powers. There is an obvious strain on Richard's face as he pushes his wolf powers to the maximum. Maya has taken several steps back from him. Alina is cowering in fear. Brandon is trying to be brave, but he is obviously affected by Richard's angry wolfish power. And me. I think I'd pass out from the strain of the wolfish powers, while everyone else, even Richard himself, is feeling the strain of Richard's power. Marco seems bored. He is extremely calm and is unbothered by Richard's blatant display of power. "Do we really have to do this?" he sighs. "Fine, stop." He only says one word, but that word carries enough power to level the whole house. Everyone is shaken by his powers, and Richard groans in pain. Just as fast as his power sweeps through the room, it disappears and everyone breathes in relief. If he keeps it up, we will all die from the strain, the house will collapse, and he will walk out unscathed. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, he sighs. What's your response to my proposal to your daughter? For the first time in my life, I see that Richard is afraid, but he's already paid for her in full. Richard tries hard to maintain his majesty, but still can't help but tremble a moment as he speaks. Rick is very generous with his payment, and I am under obligation to honor my side of the bargain. So this is all about money. Marco snorts and pulls a blank check from his pocket. Write your price. Richard and Maya exchange a fearful glance as they gaze at the check, which has Royal Bank written on it. I don't know what it means, but they obviously do. Get on with it, Marco prompts them. I don't have all day. Richard writes a hefty figure on the check, and Marco shakes his hands. Richard has a sly smile on the corner of his lips. He is obviously happy with the amount and is willing to hand me over to a perfect stranger that he has never seen before. I realize with horror that Richard doesn't care about me at all. Is that everything? I ask her as she dumps a light briefcase at my feet. Yes, she gasps. I've only got a few things. Good, I reply, and shove the briefcase into the trunk. Get in the car. We have quite a ride ahead of us. I've never been to the capital, Tanya says. What's it like? You'll see, I reply. The drive goes on in absolute silence. Though I can sense that she wants to make small talk, she seems unsure of how to begin. Her shyness amuses me. I'm just about to break the silence when I receive a mind link from Oliver. What do you want? Oliver, I sigh. Oliver is my best friend. We've connected numerous times through mind link that it is so easy for either of us to establish a mind link between us regardless of distance. Hey buddy, Oliver laughs. You missed the party, Oliver, I reply. I thought we already agreed to call first before we establish a mind link. I know, he laughs. But what's the fun in that? Besides, I couldn't find my phone. I went for a run this morning and I heard the juiciest gossip that I just had to share it with you. I don't need to talk out loud before Oliver can hear me. In fact, I don't even need to move my lips at all. He is in my mind and can hear my thought. I'm also in his mind and hear his thought, so we converse by forming thoughts in our minds for the other person to read. But just like I converse with Manuel, my inner wolf, I often say my thoughts out loud. Tanya stares at me, surprised that I am talking to myself. I've been away from the capital for about 2 weeks, I reply. What could have happened within that time that you could not wait for me to come back? First off, Oliver scoffs. I don't know when you'd be back. Plus, there's an upcoming charity auction in the capital in the next couple of days. Surely, Oliver, I sigh. You didn't establish a mind link just to inform me about a random charity auction. Well, it's not just a random charity auction, Oliver replies. I can sense a change in his emotions. Whatever the news is, he is apprehensive to tell me. What is it? I say, my voice has suddenly grown cold. Lily and Eric are the ones organizing the auction, and the headliner is the Marie Goriot earrings, Oliver says. Your mother's earrings. My hands grip the wheel so tight that I can feel the iron bending under the pressure. I immediately get my emotion in control and ease the pressure on the wheel. There is no point in getting angry. All I need to do is get it back. The Marie Goriot earrings are a pair of rare and unique earrings that are crafted with a piece of the rarest stone in the whole world. It is my mother's family heirloom and the only gift she left for me before her demise. I have given them to Lily as a token of my love. Now she is placing them on an auction. People are talking, Marco, Oliver continues. The Council of Elders is worried about you. They're scared you'd do something rash because Lily, your fated mate, is engaged to your brother. I sneer. I am expecting it. I am the most powerful Lycan in the whole kingdom, and most people see me as the biggest obstacle to Eric ascending the throne. No matter how much I keep a low profile, I will always be seen as a threat. I need a long-lasting solution that will let them think that I have nothing against Eric for engaging Lily, and I have no plan of harming him. I glance at Tanya as she fiddles with her fingers. She is my plan. I choose to marry her out of compassion and responsibility. But she can also be the perfect person to help prove my goodwill to the newly engaged couple. Oliver, I say, I've already had a solution for that problem, and I need you to help me out with something. What's that? He asks. I want you to immediately prepare a contract. A marriage contract. I reply. What? Amar. I drown out Oliver's thoughts and cut the mind link. Tanya's point of view. The drive to the capital is uneventful, except when he talks to himself, which I find to be very odd. We park before a very large and exotic clothing store, and I am just about to ask what we are doing there when he abruptly gets down from the car and opens the door for me to alight also. We have a charity function to attend, he explains, as he leads me towards the store and pushes the door open. We're here to get you new clothes. Good evening, sir. A young pretty woman bows as she approaches us. How can I help you? Help her get something very nice. Marco glances at my fingers and seems to think of something. Wait for me when you're done. And with that to me, he breezes out of the store just as quickly as he has breezed in. I'm the clerk here. The young woman smiles. Come, I'll show you around. I am too dazed to talk, and I just follow her. The more we walk round the store and try new clothes, the more I believe I am dreaming. What in the world am I doing in a store with incredibly beautiful clothes? Even Alina's clothes feel like rags as compared to these clothes. Because of the state of my clothes, I feel like a primitive, mad woman who has bumped into an advanced civilization. The lady keeps heaping different exquisite clothes on a trolley and tells me we will try them all. We spend the next couple of hours trying different clothes. Even though all the clothes look extremely good on me, the clerk is not satisfied. She bundles all the clothes to a corner and calls a young man to come to clear them up. Those clothes are missing something, she says, and leads me back to the store. Let's try something else. I meekly follow her back to the store. We are admiring a pretty dress when the peaceful silence in the store is broken by the shrill laughter of two young ladies. They saunter into the store as though they own it, and everyone's attention turns towards them. The beautiful dress on their body and the expensive accessory coupled with their extreme arrogance clearly show they are noble ladies. We're here to shop for clothes for the auction, one of them giggles. And I want to try that dress. She points to the dress that the clerk is showing me. This pauper can try it later if I don't like it, and if I do, she'll pick something else. But the clerk stutters. I am the princess of this kingdom, and you want to disobey me for this beggar that comes from the filthiest dump of the capital. The girl says and steps closer to the clerk. Besides, do you honestly think this filthy beggar can afford this dress? Bring the cloth to the fitting room now. I won't repeat it again. But she was brought by Prin. It's okay, I whisper to the clerk, smiling slightly to show her I'm not angry. I'll check round for other clothes. Though I'm not surprised by the princess's words, I'm really hurt. Even here in the capital, I'm still treated like a slave, though I'm not angry. I'm very sad. I shrug off my sadness and continue looking round the store. The clerk soon joins me, apologizing for what happened earlier. It's okay, I reply. These clothes are pretty, I say, pointing to some neatly arranged dresses. You think they'll fit? They will. She smiles mysteriously. But I suddenly remember there's a special dress in our store that I want you to try. A special dress? I ask, surprised by the excited look on the clerk's face. Aren't these dresses pretty? They are. She keeps smiling. But I don't think these dresses are good enough to showcase your beauty. Beneath these shabby clothes, I see a unique beauty that very few people have. Come try this dress. She points to a bright, brilliant green gown that seems to glow in the transparent mirror where it is kept. The gown has brilliant, intricate designs that are carefully embroidered on the cloth. It is an armless gown with a frill, colorful design at the hemming. I've never seen any dress as beautiful and exquisite as it. It is so beautiful that it feels magical. It's beautiful, isn't it? the clerk asks. Beautiful is an understatement, I reply. It's magical. It is the masterpiece of this store's owner. The clerk explains. She has designed many exquisite dresses, but rumor has it that this dress is the best she could ever come up with it. The dress is perfect, and it requires a lady whose beauty is perfect to properly wear it. Many have tried, but none could ever properly wear it. It's called the treasure of the store, the most valuable dress of this store's designer, and she hangs it here, patiently waiting for a woman with a perfect beauty to wear it. Are you sure I can try it? I ask, awed by the story behind the dress. Are you sure she can try it? The rude princess laughs. She is dressed in the same clothes that the clerk has given to her earlier. She and her friend are laughing very hard and pointing at me, attracting the attention of the other customers to me. This pauper wants to try on this dress, her friend laughs. Even Luna's couldn't fit into this dress. What makes you think you can properly wear it, beggar? The other customers start laughing, and I can hear them mocking me, whispering hurtful words and pointing fingers at me. Shame and embarrassment overwhelm me, and tears slowly trickle down my eyes. Someone should please do us a favor and drag this beggar out of here. The princess chuckles and fresh rounds of laughter fill the store. I turn to run away, but the clerk stops me. I've been working in this store for a long time, and I think you're perfect. What if I'm not? I ask. You are, she replies, smiling gently. I watch in disbelief as she pulls the dress from the glass and gives it to me. Go try it on. I sigh deeply and slowly march to the fitting room amidst the mocking laughter and embarrassment. Let's watch this beggar embarrass herself, the princess's friend says as I step into the fitting room and close the curtain. A couple of minutes later, I am ready and slowly pull the curtain apart, facing the small crowd that has gathered to watch me try on the treasure of the store. A small crowd has gathered before the fitting room to see the results of the girl's stupidity. I am mortified that the clerk has allowed that pauper to wear the most valuable clothes in the whole kingdom. I have tried that dress multiple times, and it never seems to fit, no matter how hard I tried. After many trials, I gave it up. I don't understand what gives that beggar the audacity to think that the dress will fit her when it won't fit me, the princess of the entire wolf kingdom. The curtain to the fitting room slowly pulls apart, and I am ready to burst into deep laughter at the monstrous figure that will appear behind the curtain. The girl slowly steps out of the fitting room and faces everybody. Instead of the mocking laughter that I've anticipated from the small crowd, they are all shocked. Indeed, so am I. The clothes fit the girl perfectly. She looks like a perfect Luna, but even that is an understatement. She looks like a divine goddess. The clothes hug her feminine curves so perfectly that I can't help but gasp in shock. She seems to have a faint glow around her, and the bright green color of the dress complements her bright blue eyes perfectly. I've never seen anyone as beautiful as her, and I am thoroughly shocked at how the clothes have transformed her from a hag to a divine goddess. Kathy, Ayana, Lily's friend that comes with me to the store, gently nudges me. You're gaping. What? I mumble, and immediately compose myself. Suddenly, the crowd bursts into wild applause. I expect them to ridicule and mock this girl until she breaks down in tears. Instead, they are praising her beauty, and the girl is smiling and blushing as though she is getting married. She's beautiful. She's glowing. I can marry her right now. I want to be her friend. The crowd keeps murmuring and praising her amidst very wild and loud applause. Do something, Kathy, Ayana mumbles. She's making us look bad in front of all these people. I can't deny that the girl is extremely beautiful, but no one is allowed to make a fool out of me. Especially not in the capital. What are you all clapping for? I snarl at the crowd, and the applause fizzles out. You think she can afford it? She's a pauper, a beggar from the streets. It doesn't matter that the dress fits her, because she can't afford it. Even if she slaved for 1,000 years, she would not be able to afford it. So take off that dress. I turn to her. And go back to the streets where you belong. She doesn't have to. A smooth, silky voice rings through the store, and the store owner walks towards the girl. A quick murmur sweeps through the crowd at the appearance of the most talented designer in the whole kingdom. She is a recluse who almost never appears in public, yet she is making an appearance because of this stupid girl. I will give her this dress for free. She deserves it. Another quick murmur sweeps through the crowd before they burst into a bout of loud and wild applause. It is obvious that I have lost and is about to become a laughing stock. But I am determined to have the last word. You. I turn towards the girl. If I see your ugly face again, I'll make you regret it. I threaten her and storm out of the store, barely keeping my anger in check. Sade. Tanya's point of view. The whole scenario looks surreal to me. I will believe I am hallucinating, if not for the fact that I am clearly staring at my reflection before a very big glass. I know I am pretty, but never have I imagined that I can be that beautiful. I have to repeatedly pinch myself to make sure that I am awake. See. The clerk chuckles. I told you you're perfect. You should wait here. I will go attend to other customers. I am too dazed to reply, so I just nod. My heart is racing faster than I think possible. From a ridiculed pauper to a beautiful goddess, the transformation is mind-boggling. Tanya, Marco calls as he enters the store, looking for me, and I turn towards him. His eyes light up when he finds me, and he drags his gaze up and down my body. A soft smile plays at the corner of his eyes, but it never gets the chance to grow before it suddenly disappears, and Marco's face returns back to its default placid state. You're pretty, he murmurs, and shows me a colorfully wrapped box. Let's do this the right way, he chuckles slightly. I am shocked when he goes down on one knee, opens the box to show me a very beautiful ring, and asks me to marry him. Yes, I mumble, unable to believe the windfall of good luck that befalls me. I am dressed in very beautiful clothes and engaged to an incredibly handsome man. At that moment, my life seems perfect. You should save the dress for the auction, Marco says. It's in a few days. In the meantime, I'll show you around. The next few days zip past in a blur, and it is soon time to go for the auction. I dress up in the beautiful dress that I got from the store, and Marco drives me to the venue. My hands are wrapped around his as we walk towards the front door, and I am incredibly happy. We are just about to climb the staircase that leads to the front door when Marco receives a mind link. I'm sorry, Tanya, he says apologetically. I would have to leave you for a few moments. I've got an urgent contract to deal with. I'll tell one of the staff to show you inside. What about the invitation? I hurriedly ask before he walks away. Marco seems to be amused by me. We don't need an invitation. He doesn't allow me to protest before he walks away. And I am left to myself. I don't know why, but I suddenly have a bad feeling that something terrible is going to happen as I look at his back. The peace and comfort that I felt earlier when he was with me suddenly disappear, and I panic. Nevertheless, I continue towards the front door with my heart beating faster with every step I take. Alina's point of view. This auction is strictly by invitation. I tell Brandon as I wrap my arms around him. Only a very select few of nobles and royalties are invited. If you had stuck with Tanya, then you would never have been able to attend a function like this. You already mentioned that. Brandon smiles. He looks very handsome in his black suit, and I am very happy that I have gotten rid of Tanya. Though I'm not satisfied that she has slept with a rich, handsome man instead of Rick like I planned. Still, I feel good about getting rid of her. Aren't you worried that the man she slept with had a check with Royal Bank written on it? Brandon asks. What if he's royalty? What? Royalty. I laugh. Which member of the royal family would be interested in Tanya? I'm very sure that the man she slept with is probably a rich man in the capital, and I'm very certain that no matter how rich he is, he can't buy his way into this function. This function is strictly for alphas, royalties, and nobles. We're only here because I'm representing my dad as the alpha of our pack. If you play your card very well and network properly, you can gain the popularity you need to succeed my dad. I know, Brandon laughs. Thank you, Alina. This wouldn't have been possible without you. Of course it wouldn't. I laugh and hug him. There's no way we could run into Tanya in such a prestigious event. Then, I immediately sense something is wrong with the way Brandon suddenly goes rigid, and I follow his gaze. Impossible! I exclaim. There is Tanya, dressed in the fabled treasure of the store, waiting by the front door. She is so beautiful that Brandon is staring at her lustfully. Intense anger, fueled by jealousy, burns within me and I march towards her. You wretch! I snarl at her. How did you steal that clothes and sneak in here without being detected? Why are you here to seduce Brandon? No. She stutters as she is very surprised to see me. I'm here with who? The fool that saved you from Rick? I smirk. You want me to believe he got invited. He might be some rich merchant in the capital, but he's no alpha and he's definitely not royalty. But how dare you try to sneak in here and steal my boyfriend? I'm not. Show me your invitation then. I snigger at her confidently that she doesn't have one. If you were truly invited, you would have your invitation. I don't have one. I knew it. I laugh. No matter what you do, you will always a slave, a surrogate's daughter that would never amount to anything. Brandon dear, I turn to Brandon. Let's go inside while this wretch rots in the cold. I wrap my arms around Brandon to show her that he is mine, and there is nothing she can do about it. I am just about to give my invitation to the guard when he suddenly speaks into the earpiece that is lodged in his ear. He hastily apologizes to me and suddenly turns towards Tanya. I am glad that they have found her out and will throw her out. Instead, he fawns over her as though she is some very important dignitary, while he absolutely ignores me. I have never felt such huge humiliation in my entire life. As the guard leads Tanya inside and leaves Brandon and me in the cold, I vow that Tanya will pay dearly for humiliating me. I am livid with anger when the guard finally comes to let us in after what seems like an eternity. I just cannot believe that he has totally ignored Brandon and me because of Tanya. My blood boils with so much anger that I am determined to make Tanya pay for the way she humiliates me. I am also angry at the guard, and I barely pay attention when he hands me a device with which guests will bid with, and explains to me how it works. The device is small and can fit smugly in one's palm. It has a red, glowing button on top of it that alerts the auction master as to the exact person that is bidding for a particular item. The button indicates you're willing to pay $5,000 more to the bidding price. The guard deftly explains, but I wave him away. Let me carry that for you. A very young girl dressed in a red gown approaches Brandon and me and collects my small purse. And leads you to your seat. She leads us to an empty row, and we sit directly behind Tanya. Even from the back, she still looks radiant, and it only makes me hate her more. I am determined to humiliate her publicly before all these dignitaries. But I don't know how. I lean forward slightly to spy on her, and I see that she holds the bidding device gingerly in her hand, and a devious plan suddenly forms in my mind. I lean back in my seat, smiling, and wait for the right moment. Tend, whend. Tanya's point of view. I am quite nervous as I perch on the chair, surrounded by important people. I have never been in the midst of very important people, and I can't help but feel inferior. The auction master's voice breaks through the small talks that are scattered around the hall, and everyone pays attention as the auction starts. I am amazed at the incredible items that are put on display and the ridiculous amount of money that people are bidding for. I never imagined anyone can be that rich to splash millions of dollars on some ancient painting. I glance around the hall, hoping to see Marco. I am starting to get restless as my anxiety increases, and I want him to be around me. I glance around, but I can't find him. Instead, I see that Alina and Brandon are sitting directly behind me. On the other side of the aisle, the princess and her friend are sitting side by side and gently conversing. I remember her threat and immediately make to avert my gaze, but she has already seen me. Her eyes widen in surprise to see that I am in the auction. Almost immediately, she frowns at me with such anger that it sends a cold shiver down my spine. I am very certain that if we weren't in the midst of an organized important event, she would rush over to fulfill her threat. I look away from her and turn my face sideways where I see a young man staring ardently at me. Even though I have caught him staring at me, he doesn't look away. He gazes at me as though I am a fascinating object that he is seeing for the first time. I look away with embarrassment. I feel weird that someone in this noble gathering will pick an interest in me. I glance towards his direction once again and see that he is still staring at me, and I shift uncomfortably in my seat. I look around the hall once more and realize that Alina is right. This is a gathering for alphas, royalty, and nobles. It makes me curious about the true identity of Marco. I wonder if he is an alpha of a secret pack or if he is a nobleman. Ladies and gentlemen, the auction master yells in a very excited voice that breaks through my thought and gains my attention. We have arrived at the headliner of this auspicious event. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Marie Goreette. This is a pair of earrings like no other. It is a family heirloom that is made from the rarest of stones. The bidding starts at $10 million. I gasp at the huge amount of money that the pair of earrings is going for. It is beautiful, no doubt, but I feel it is too expensive. Apparently, I am the only one who feels that way because the bidding war soon begins and the price quickly rises to $80 million. $80 million going once, the auction master yells. Even he is flustered by the amount that the earrings are going for. $80 million going twice. I turn to see who has made the bid and realize that it is the same man that was staring at me earlier. Suddenly, I feel someone bump into my chair, making me press the red button on the bidding device. The young lady bids $80,005,000. The auction master yells with incredible gusto. Going once. Going twice. And it's a deal. I am dazed at the incredible switch of events. I turn back to see my stepsister with a smug smile on her face, and I realize she has intentionally pushed me. A round of applause for the young lady as we invite her to the podium. The auction master announces. This item is so special that the buyer will pay for it immediately. Ushers, please lead her here. Shocked is an understatement of how I truly feel. I am terrified. Where in the world will I get $1 million, not to talk of $80 million? Before I can truly grasp what is happening, 2 ushers have gently tugged at my hand and lead me to the podium. I am shaking with fear, and I pray earnestly that the ground will open up and swallow me to save me from embarrassment and humiliation. I try to explain to the auction master that it is all a big misunderstanding, that I have no money. I try to talk, but my mouth is dry and my tongue sticks to my throat. She has no money. Alina suddenly stands up and yells for the whole audience to hear. She's a poor beggar. I'm not. I mumble as I try to defend myself. It is. The princess also stands up and points a threatening finger at me. I saw her in the clothing store a few days ago and she was dressed in filthy rags. I wonder how she got an invitation. She doesn't have an invitation. Alina smirks. I'm sure she sneaked inside this place to seduce one of the dignitaries here. I'm invited. I murmur. Then show us your invitation. Alina yells again. Show everyone here. Show us you're not a whore. I'm not, I reply. I came here with my husband. Husband. Alina laughs. You're a cheap whore who slept with a stranger. Now everyone here would see you for who you truly are. I am too stunned to talk or defend myself. The crowd is murmuring and mocking me, and I feel as though I am the unluckiest person in the whole world. My feeble attempts to defend myself are unheard by the riveting crowd. I came here with my husband. I can only mumble this again and again. And where is he? Alina laughs. Where's your so-called husband? He's here. She's brought by me. A deep, powerful voice sweeps through the hall with such force that everyone immediately goes silent. Marco's voice gives me strength in a way that I cannot explain. Immediately I hear his voice. My racing heart slowly calms down. A comforting peace settles upon my nervous mind, and a soft smile grows on my face. He walks through the aisle slowly and powerfully, with a folder in his hand. His every step screams confidence and power. His short cropped hair is a bit ruffled, giving him a ruggedly handsome look. The crowd suddenly goes wild as he approaches the podium. It's the second prince. Marco is back. He is here, the most powerful Lycan in the kingdom. He has a cold smile on his face as he steps onto the podium and pulls my hands up, exposing my ring for everyone to see. Her name is Tanya, and she is my wife. Marco speaks in a cold voice that no one can dare argue with. And she's here to buy back my mother's earrings. What? Marco has a wife. Who is she? Is she rich or powerful? She's very beautiful, though. Murmurs sweep through the crowd, and I can barely believe what I am hearing. Marco is the second prince. Marco is royalty. Brother, the princess suddenly yells. Is this a joke? No, Kathy, Marco replies. It's not. Then it suddenly dawns on me. If Kathy is the princess and she calls Marco her brother, it means that Marco is a prince of the kingdom. The realization hits me with such brutal force that it knocks the wind out of me. I stagger slightly, and would fall if Marco hasn't caught me. Welcome back, buddy. The man that stared at me earlier also says with a big smile, and I realize that he is Marco's friend. He was just bidding on Marco's behalf for the earrings. How is this possible? I murmur. Is this real? I just can't bring myself to believe it. All my life I am always unlucky. Unloved, unknown. I am just a surrogate's daughter of an alpha of a small pack. Yet, I am married to the second prince, the most powerful Lycan in the entire kingdom. Does that mean my fate has changed? Does that mean I can be truly loved and be truly happy? All these thoughts rush through my mind when a soft, sweet, feminine voice sweeps through the hall. And everyone turns their attention to the door. You're finally back. I am curious to see the owner of the voice and I peer towards the door. A very pretty young woman enters the hall, and she is not alone. Her arms are intertwined with an equally handsome man, and they look like a very lovely couple. They both exude a majestic and noble aura, and I am very certain that they are either royalty or nobility. My suspicion is confirmed when the crowd suddenly bow their head very low and part ways for the couple to pass through. They are flanked by bodyguards with a few maids and servants trailing behind them. The first prince, Eric, and his fiancée, Lily. A servant yells, and almost immediately, everyone genuflects. Everyone except Marco and I. I don't understand what is going on, and I am certain that Marco, as the second prince and the most powerful Lycan in the kingdom, is not obligated to genuflect. You can all rise, Eric says in a rich, smooth baritone voice that I am certain can charm lots of women. The whole crowd rises while Eric and Lily continue walking towards the podium. From the uneasy murmur of the audience, I can tell that it is unusual for the royal family to gather together in public. The more I listen to the murmurs of the crowd, the more I realize that I've heard those names before. Lily and Eric, they seem so familiar, as though I've heard the name from somewhere before today. I rack my brain and I suddenly remember where I heard it. It is from those two girls at the open-air bar. I have eavesdropped on their conversation about the royal family, and the details slowly come to me. Lily and Eric are the couple that got engaged and sent the whole kingdom in a festive mood. But Lily is Marco's fated mate. They were in love before, but finally Lily engaged to Eric. Instead of Marco, can only mean one thing. I suddenly feel an uneasy emotion with me. I don't know exactly what I feel. Perhaps it is fear, panic, turmoil. Whatever it is, it grows rapidly within me and I slowly become confused and sad. Marco was in love with Lily. That thought sends a deep shiver down my spine and my panic grows massively. But Lily is engaged with Eric, and that means Marco no longer loves her, right? Marco suddenly wraps his arms around me, something he has never done since we spent that night together. I look into his eyes and see that there is something different about him. He is always in control of his emotions, and no one can tell whatever he is thinking or feeling just by looking at him. But at that moment, he is terribly angry. The anger simmers beneath his eyes but never seems to spill out. When Lily and Eric reach the podium, Marco's hands suddenly tighten around me and I hiss in pain. "I'm sorry," Marco hastily replies, and eases his grip on my arm before he turns back to the royal couple standing before us. I wonder what can make Marco lose control like that, but it doesn't take long for me to find the answer. He is staring at Lily and Lily is staring right back at him. I feel sick as I watch both of them and my panic grows. "Hello, brother," Marco greets Eric, smiling, before he turns to Lily. "It is sister-in-law now, isn't it?" Somehow, Marco has managed to put his emotions back in check before anyone can notice. But I notice. I am the only one that sees how Lily and Eric's appearance angers Marco so much, and it terrifies and saddens me at the same time. "Hello, brother," Eric replies, grinning. "Glad to have you back. We were beginning to worry you wouldn't come back," Lily chuckles. "So we had to lure you back by putting up your mother's earrings for auction. I hope you don't mind." Marco laughs. "I appreciate your worry, but it was this pretty damsel that kept me back." I will blush and be extremely happy that Marco has complimented me in front of so many people. But I know he doesn't mean it. He is only doing it because of Lily. "Is that so?" Eric laughs. "Who's she?" "Her name's Tanya," Marco replies. "So you went on and find yourself a damsel as I did," Eric chuckles and steps towards me. "Come, sister-in-law," he smiles. "Give your brother-in-law an embrace." Eric seems truly excited to meet me, and I know I should match his excitement with my own, but I can only manage a faint smile. The thought of Lily and Marco heavily weighs on my mind, and it kills any joy I felt when Marco told everyone I was his wife. A few pleasantries later, 2 ushers lead me to a separate lounge to give me the special earrings while Marco goes to pay for them. "Here you go, ma'am," one of the ushers says to me with a bright smile on her face while handing a small box to me. "The Marie Goriette. Thanks." I murmur my reply and collect the box. The ushers immediately exit the lounge and give me privacy. I slowly open up the box and there is a pair of earrings sitting smugly in the cushion box. The Marie Goriette is even more beautiful up close than when I saw it on the podium. The rare stones are immaculately embroidered together to give an incredible design. Just like the clothes I am wearing, it is also one of a kind. I desire to look at them more closely, so slowly pull them out of the box when I see a small handwritten note placed inside the box. It is addressed to Lily, and it is signed by Marco. "For my love," I whisper as I read what the note says. I realize that the earrings are not just a family heirloom. They are also a testament to the love between Lily and Marco. That is why they are very important to Marco. The desire to take a closer look at the earrings suddenly disappears as it only makes my emotional pain grows more. Moments ago when Marco introduced me to everyone as his wife, I thought he truly loved me, that he was marrying me because he wanted to spend the rest of his life with me, that he saw something special in me. I thought I had changed my fate and finally found someone that truly loved me. But I am wrong. Marco is only marrying me out of pity and responsibility. He feels pity for me because of my deplorable state, and he wants to be with me because of his child that is growing in my belly. I can't even shake the thought that he is marrying me to have revenge on Lily, just when I think good luck has finally swung my way. It dawns on me that I am in the miserable position that I've always been in. I feel even worse when I realize that I am beginning to have affection towards Marco, while he feels absolutely nothing towards me. The thought is so painful that a tear falls from my eyes and into the note, staining it. I hear a knock on the door, and I hurriedly clean my eyes, shove the stained note back into the box, and place the earrings back in the box before placing it on the table, and I go to open the door. Marco walks inside when I open the door and apologizes for his tight grip on my arm earlier. "It's fine," I reply. "I'm really sorry for acting all close and romantic towards you," he continues. "It must have been confusing. I momentarily lost control." "I understand," I reply, and an awkward silence ensues between us. I want to ask him why he marries me, but I am scared. Then again, I reason, this is my life. And I need to know, so I gently ask him, "Why did you decide to marry me?" I murmur with my head bowed, as I am too nervous to look him in the eyes. Marco sighs deeply and pushes a folder into my arm. "Now that you know who I am," he says, "you also know the rumors flying around about Lily, Eric, and me, right?" I gently nod. "My mother died when I was young, just like yours, so I know how difficult that is," he continues. "I would not want our child to grow up without a father around. The one-night stand is my responsibility, and I want the child to grow safely. Also, our marriage would help pacify the Council of Elders, that I'm not angry about Lily and Eric's engagement, and I have nothing against them." "So you're only marrying me out of pity and politics?" I ask. Although I don't mean it, I cannot hide the pain and disappointment I feel in my voice. Marco must hear it too. "I'm sorry," he replies. "I'll give you everything you want in our marriage. Everything except love," he says, and leaves the room, giving me some space and time to calm my mind. I open the folder he gives me and pull open the document inside it. With teary eyes, I slowly read what is written on it. 3-year marriage contract, I whisper. I glance at the contract in my shaky hands, unable to believe my eyes. Ever since I was a little girl, I've always dreamed of the day I'm going to get married. Unlike other girls who dream of the beautiful gown and beautiful necklace they will wear, I dream of the handsome man I will marry. I often daydream about how handsome my husband will be and how much I will love him. Most importantly, he is going to love me back just as fiercely as I love him. The paper in my hand has invalidated those dreams. This is no marriage based on love. It is based on interest. I cannot deny that Marco is royalty and is very handsome, but the fact that he doesn't love me dampens my spirit. I remember my mom and how she died before I got a chance to know her. I remember Brandon and how he betrayed me. I remember how Marco saved me only to marry me out of a sense of responsibility. I love these people, but never get loved back in return. It is as though I am not destined for love. The door swings open again, and Marco walks back inside. It's a 3-year marriage contract. Seeing me hold the file, Marco explains, "That means we'll be married for 3 years and live together within this period. During this marriage, we'd have to be seen together in public and act like a real couple in order to make people believe. But when we're alone, we're just two normal persons with no attachments sharing a roof." I force a smile, pretending to accept the contract well. "There would be no attraction." He pauses at my words, but then continues, "I'll pay you $3 million when we finish this contract." I know I should be happy with such a huge amount of money, but I'm not. I want to marry for love and not for money. It is weird though. Many girls would kill for this opportunity, especially girls like me who come from poverty, yet I'm not keen on it. I just stare at the paper, sad and struggling to hold back my tears. Marco must sense my discomfort, because he says in a comforting voice, "If you want to think about it, I can give you a few days to..." "It's fine," I hastily say, and sign on it before pushing the paper back into his hands. I should appreciate you, I say, gulping furiously as I try to hold back my tears. For saving me from Rick and protecting me. I cannot thank you enough for all you've done for and all you're doing for me, though I am forcing a smile. I can feel the tears simmering beneath my eyes. I am a few seconds away from bursting into tears, and it will be really embarrassing to cry in front of a man who has done so much for me. I would like to walk around the Capitol, I hastily say and wobble out of the room, just in time for the tears to fall off my face. Sawade. Manuel's point of view. Do you really have to be so cold to her, bro? I complain as soon as the poor girl leaves the room. I can literally feel the room drop a couple of degrees because of the coldness in your heart. I continue scoffing at Manuel. In fact, I think your heart's made of ice. Are you done with the cold reference? Marco rolls his eyes. Not yet. I've got one more, I tease. Who left you too long in the freezer and frosted your heart? Really funny, Marco sneers. But really, bro. I continue, desperate to press my point. The girl seemed as though she was about to cry. I don't love her. Marco replies, it's better I tell her up front than cheat her on. But you could have done it in a smarter way, I taunt. Besides, why can't you love that beauty? You see how that dress hugs her curves? God, if I were a man, I'd be worshipping her perfect body. Good thing you're a wolf then, Marco replies with the same coldness with which he's talked to the girl. I think she was about to cry. I press on. Why not go after her and check up on her? Marco merely grunts without saying anything, seemingly not agreeing with my proposal. Yet, he actually steps toward the door. I can't help but snort, with laughter. I hastily clean my tears as I step out of the empty wall and into the streets. My excuse of seeing the Capitol is not completely an excuse. I actually do want to see the Capitol as well. Even though I've been in the Capitol for a couple of days, I've been indoors all through. The Capitol is really busy and is sprawling with so many activities that it is impossible to focus on one. Despite the numerous activities around me and desire to see them, I can't focus my attention on them. I am sad about my predicament. Worse still, I am upset that I am sad. Marco has saved me from Rick, protected me from my family, and made sure I am comfortable. It will be perfect if he loves me, but I don't think I have any right to demand love from him. I feel really sad that I am beginning to like him while he shows no affection for me. I am walking unconsciously through the city, and nothing catches my fancy until I come upon a big building. It looks ancient, yet it looks very new. It is built with white bricks and has 2 tall towers flanking it. Instead of normal windows, it has stained glasses of different colors. On each window is a different painting of the moon goddess, the most powerful deity in wolf history. I used to hear stories about the beautiful ambience of the Temple of the Moon Goddess, and I am not disappointed. I clear my mind of my troubles and walk into the temple. The sun reflects into the building through the colored stained glasses and lights up the temple. It is just like I've been told. A huge, beautiful statue of the moon goddess stands at the altar and overlooks the neatly arranged temple. The temple is almost empty, save from some acolytes taking care of the altar. I sit for a few minutes pondering my situation while praying to the moon goddess for strength and clarity. I am just about to leave the temple when I catch sight of a very small structure at the far end corner of the temple, and I instantly recognize what it is. I used to hear stories of how the moon goddess gives advice to confused wolves through the priestess, who are the messengers of the moon goddess. Grateful for the opportunity, I walk towards the structure, lean on the cushioned railing, and turn towards a small veiled window. I can slightly make out a figure beneath the dark veil, and it is impossible to tell who or what it is. Hello, I say, unsure of what to do as it is my first time. Greetings, a thick, gruff voice replies. Almost immediately, the voice coughs and morphs into the voice of a young boy. Sorry, the smooth voice wheezes and coughs again before turning into the voice of an old woman. That's not right. The voice rasps and coughs once again, morphing into a young woman's voice. That would do. Are you all right? I ask, uncertain of what just happened. I'm fine. The flowery, soft voice of a young woman replies behind the veil. Now tell the moon goddess what's wrong. I met a man. I tell her about my desire to marry someone I love, and the person who loves me back too. I tell her how Marco and I have unintentionally had sex, how he has saved me from my cruel family and their wicked plan to sell me to Rick, a sexual pervert. How it is a marriage of contract, and not a real one. I wish I haven't stumbled in the wrong room. I murmur as sadness overwhelms me. If you haven't stumbled in the wrong room, the voice says, you would never have met. The moon goddess does what's best for us, and she has led you in the hands of Marco. You will be a happier woman if you accept it as the work of the goddess. But he doesn't love me, because he said so. The voice chuckles. I know Marco very well. On the outside, he's as cold as a fish, but on the inside, he's like a warm, fuzzy embodiment of light and love. All you need to do is just break through his cold exterior and reach into his warm heart. I believe you will be a good fit for him. You seem to know a lot about him, I observe. Are you related? Me. Ouch. I hear a soft thump against the window and a male voice grunting. I am tempted to pull the veil apart and see what is going on, but I don't. Are you okay? I ask. Your voice. Of course I'm okay. I just have a cold, the voice says. So my voice is a bit hoarse. But don't worry about me. We're here to talk about you. Tell me something about yourself. Apart from your marriage to Marco. Something personal, something you wish to happen. I think long and hard, and only one thing comes to mind. I create perfumes in my home pack, I say, and I would really want to learn from the various famous perfume designers that are in the capital. I usually make perfumes based on how I feel, but I do hope that I can work in a perfume shop where I can learn more about perfumes. Hope I can also find a similar job here. Go, my child. May the moon goddess bless you and grant your wish. Lily's point of view, the stupid smile I've planted on my face all day, is beginning to wear me out. Seeing Tanya in the capital really unsettles me because I've already devised a plan to make sure that it never happens. I am worried about how my plan has failed, and I need to get answers. Thank you for the tea, Lily. The last of the guests hugs me. It is wonderful. Thank you, noble man, I smile. I'm honored by your presence. As the last guest in the hall leaves, I walk through the hallway to the second lounge and pull it open. Immediately, I get into the lounge and step inside. I drop my smile, and then I see him. He is sitting there, smiling as though he's won the lottery, but I'm not in the mood. Tell me, I snap at him. What is Tanya doing in the capital, huh, Brandon? Well, that was an unexpected twist, Brandon says, sitting back into the leather armchair. I walk around the lounge room at the back of the auction house like a lion pacing in a cage. I'm sorry, is this supposed to be amusing? We had a deal. I hiss at him. The whole point of paying Brandon was for him to get close to Tanya. How did that scrawny little nobody end up arm in arm with Marco? Brandon examines his hands, absently picking at the dirt under his fingernails. The situation changed, he mumbles. It's not personal, Lily. It's just business. You know how auctions work, right? The prize goes to the highest bidder. You paid me well, but Alina paid me better. If you betray me, I start, but he cuts me off and moves swiftly towards me before I can muster a threat. Careful, little lady. I wouldn't want you to break a nail. Nobility is such a delicate thing, he whispers, his breath tickling my ear and making angry heat rise to my cheeks. If I betray you, there's nothing you can do about it. Or have you forgotten, Lily? I know your dirty little secret. He gives me a lazy smirk and turns away. As Brandon leaves, I reach for a teacup on the counter. I fling it in his direction, and it smashes against the door seconds after he closes it behind him. Porcelain shards litter the floor as I take a few steadying breaths. I straighten my back and brush off my gown, plastering a polite smile on my lips. I walk out of the lounge, looking elegant and unbothered. There's work to be done, and I still have a part to play. Side. Scène 20. Tanya's point of view. For as long as I can remember, my life has been dull, dreary, and difficult. But ever since I met Marco, my world turned upside down. In all my life, I've never had someone waiting for me to come home. But when I step inside the townhouse, my husband stands in a doorway observing me. He's casually leaning against the frame, those blue eyes scanning me with an unreadable expression. "It's getting late," he says plainly. "Go to your room and try to get some rest. There's somewhere I want to take you tomorrow." "Where are we going?" I ask timidly. Eau de Lune Perfume Company. Lily's family owns it, so I was able to pull some strings and get you a job there. My heart skips a beat. Eau de Lune Parfumerie is the most reputable perfume company in the kingdom. It's been a dream of mine to go, but I've always been an omega, the weak and unworthy surrogate daughter of a minor alpha. I've never been important or wealthy enough to go near that place. Really? They would be willing to let me work there. They wouldn't be willing to refuse me. You start tomorrow. The next day, I arrive at the perfumery wearing a black satin blouse and caramel-colored trousers that accentuate my slender figure and make me look long and graceful. The maid who works at the townhouse laid out the professional-looking outfit for me the night before. Somehow, I actually look like I belong in this elegant, extraordinary place. Well, almost. It's hard to feel like I fit in when I can't escape the whispers about the second prince and his new wife. All the employees are buzzing with the gossip of Marco's scandalous marriage with a strange she-wolf so shortly after breaking up with Lily. Luckily for me, no one seems to know what the mysterious new wife looks like, or even what her name is. It's an effort not to blush, while some of my coworkers swoon over the prince and mourn his lack of availability. I can't imagine what they would say if they knew I'm the reason he's off the marriage market. The tall, brown-haired girl showing me around the building leads me through a set of glass double doors. She seems outrageously offended that she's been degraded as my tour guide. "Miss Lily, we'll see you now," she snaps at me, not hiding her resentment at having to babysit the new girl. Marco warned me that I'd be reporting to Lily. Her family owns the company, so she basically runs the perfumery. It's a little unnerving to know I'll work for my new husband's ex-girlfriend and future sister-in-law. But this is an amazing opportunity, and I'm determined to make the best of it. Lily surveys me from behind her enormous desk, and my skin prickles uncomfortably under her scrutiny. Behind her, Lily's friend, Ayana, makes no effort to conceal her contempt towards me. Finally, Lily crosses her arms over her chest and offers me a sweet smile. "Well, how is your first day going so far? Is everything to your liking? You're very lucky, you know. Pauline is one of our low-level managers," Lily says, nodding towards a snobbish, brown-haired girl. "She has to take time out of her extremely busy day to show you around." Pauline nods and bares her teeth at me in a smile that's more feline than friendly. I muster a polite nod. "In fact, now that you two know each other, why don't you spend the rest of the day training her? We wouldn't want Tanya getting lost or confused on her first day on the job." "Right, Pauline." Lily, Pauline, and Ayana exchange an amused smirk between the three of them, and I struggle to ignore the feeling of foreboding that fills me. As Pauline leads me to a warehouse, she prattles on about the company's success and status, boasting that all employees graduated from prestigious universities. "Of course," she says, "as our newest employee, I'm sure you know all about our rigorous and selective hiring process. Tell me, where did you study?" "Ivy League International." I bite my lip and lower my gaze slightly. The truth is, I'd gotten a scholarship to a local college. It was nothing fancy, but it was the best I could do with the resources available. Not exactly, I mumble. I was in a small pack outside the capital, so I went to school there. The disdain is so plain on her face that it makes me want to turn away and hide. Well then, you must be very special if they hired you, right? Pauline says sarcastically. She takes a vial off the shelf with a smug little pout. Here, we're developing a new scent using raw materials. This is a sample of the distillate we're using, and we need more. There's another bottle of it here, but it's an old formula, and there was some confusion with the labels. So it's not clearly marked. You'll have to look for it very carefully and bring it to my office once you're done. Pauline drops the vial into my hands and turns on her heel, walking away swiftly before I can protest. The warehouse is massive. There are rows and rows of shelves full of flasks and droppers, wooden crates, copper pots, and glass canisters. My heartbeat quickens as panic starts to rise. It would take me over 3 days working without sleep or rest to go through all the boxes and find the right bottle. Focus. I can do this. I open the little vial and take a deep, slow breath. The scent is light and floral, with accords of hibiscus and honeysuckle. If I try to read through every mismatched label and faded formula to find the right sample, I'll never find it. The sight of the cluttered warehouse is too overwhelming. I need to focus my senses. I close my eyes and run my hands along the nearest shelf, letting instinct take over. I'm hit with over a dozen different smells, an array of citrus, herbs, spices, resins, woods, and sweets. Every scent tells a story. This is what I do. Working here is my dream. Marco got me through the door, and now it's up to me to prove I belong here. I won't let him down. I make my way through the different containers, inhaling deeply until I'm lightheaded and dizzy. The raw sample in my hand has hints of apple blossom and wild berries mixed with something warm and earthy. Sandalwood and amber are hidden beneath the more pungent floral notes. There, the black bottle in my hands matches the scent perfectly. This is the one, I'm sure of it. I know that it shouldn't, but a small part of me enjoys the look of disbelief on Pauline's face when I appear in her office with the distillate. Maybe I do belong here. After all, the rest of the day goes by in a blur. I work at the perfumery for several hours, sniffing, boiling, and bottling until my head hurts slightly. But I'm proud of what I accomplished today. And I actually enjoyed every exhausting minute of it. The sound of a woman screaming wipes the contents smile off my lips. Several female employees gather at one of the large windows. Many are gasping and whispering among themselves. What's going on? I mumble, approaching them with uncertainty. It's the second, Prince. Prince Marco is here. My breath catches in my throat as I manage to peek out the window at what everyone is staring at. Marco is parked outside the main entrance, standing with his hands in his pockets, leaning lazily against the car door. He looks unimpressed, but even with his sunglasses on, I can feel his gaze scanning the crowd gawking at him through the window. His eyes land on me. Do you think he's here to see Lily? One of the workers asks. There's no way. Prince Marco and Lily are a thing of the past. She's engaged to Prince Eric. Outside, Marco walks away towards the entrance of the building. He's coming this way, my heart pounding harder and harder with every footstep. Even if Marco married some she-wolf, Lily was supposed to be his fated mate. Why else would he be here? The sound of heels clicking against the marble floor makes me want to disappear as the crowd moves away from the window and shifts towards the main entrance. Lily appears with Ayana close behind her. Do you think Marco's new wife is here? I haven't seen her, another employee says. They've seen me. They just haven't realized who I am, but they will soon. There are too many people around, but the focus is evenly divided between Lily and Marco. The last thing I want is to draw attention to myself, and I dig my nails into my palm to stop my hands from shaking. Maybe I can slip away unnoticed while everyone is distracted. I lower my head, letting my sleek black hair form a curtain over my face. Everyone is watching Marco as he makes his way toward Lily, gasping at the scene about to unfold, but Lily only smiles presumptuously. Even she expects that he's here for her. I take a few unsteady steps backward, hoping to sneak off without causing a fuss. But then Marco walks right past Lily without so much as a glance in her direction, as if he hardly noticed her standing there. Lily barely flinches, but her lips press together tightly as her former lover ignores her existence. She is unaccustomed to being ignored, just as I am unaccustomed to being noticed. Before I can register what's going on, Marco appears in front of me, blocking off my quiet escape route. "Where are you running off to?" he asks, his low voice making the question sound more like a demand. "Nowhere. I stammer as everyone's eyes turn to me. Marco slides his hands out of his pockets, taking off his sunglasses in a swift motion. Those messy blonde locks and electric blue eyes make him look like a roguish Prince Charming, and he crosses his arms over his broad chest, surveying me expectantly. "I'm sorry," I mumble sheepishly. "I was just leaving. Why are you here? What do you think?" "I'm here to pick up my wife from work." My wife. I'm still not used to those words, and hearing him call me that makes rosy heat rise in my cheeks. The corner of his lip curls slightly at the sight of my blushing, as if he finds my modesty amusing. But around us, whispers and shock ripple across the gathered crowd. My coworkers, who've barely noticed the arrival of the new employee, seem to see me for the first time. Their eyes feel like dozens of little needles, prickling my skin with jealousy and judgment. But Marco is watching me too. His gaze seems to shield me from the rest. "Thank you," I whisper to him, wishing no one else could see or hear us. He simply nods in response, and we walk out of the building together, the crowd parting around us. I tell myself that this is just protocol. Marco is the second prince, and it's his responsibility to play the part of the dutiful husband. It's an act, a role he has to play, to maintain appearances. I know that, but I still can't push the butterflies in my stomach down completely. I'm so caught up with the feeling of him beside me, head held high and proud as he walks arm in arm with me, that I don't even notice the glaring look of resentment that crept onto Lily's and Ayana's faces. Ted. Wed. Since Marco showed up at work that day, everyone at the Eau de Lune Parfumerie treats me differently. Some approach me with curiosity and forced politeness, while others glare with unabashed envy and spite. Today, however, the atmosphere in the perfumery is decidedly different. Many employees are eating chocolates and boasting roses or heart-shaped cards. Even Pauline seems to be in a good mood. It takes me a few minutes to understand the cause of such celebratory commotion. It's Valentine's Day. I've never really celebrated it before, even when I was with Brandon. The whole holiday seems luxurious and foreign to me, so I stay out of everyone's way and try to go about my work unnoticed. As the hours pass, couriers keep stopping by the building, delivering flowers and other gifts to the girls in the shop. Each new arrival is accompanied by excited gasps and cheerful giggles. Their unabashed girly joy is contagious, and I can't help but smile at how happy everyone seems. Until the questions start. As the day's novelty starts to wear off, many girls start to remember that I exist, and it doesn't take long for them to notice my auspicious lack of gifts. Their attention turns on me gradually, and I feel myself shrink further into myself with every inquisitive glance. To make matters worse, several girls come up and show off their flowers or jewelry. To me, wondering at the sort of gift Prince Marco got for his new wife. I haven't even thought of that. I've never received a gift on Valentine's Day. Honestly, I'm lucky to have a husband, and Marco has already done so much for me. How could I possibly ask for anything more? I don't need a fancy gift to show off, but I can only imagine the judgment I would face if I voiced those sentiments, so I do my best to change the subject. Whenever someone approaches me to inquire about our plans for Valentine's Day, I stumble and mutter whatever I can think of, avoiding any clear answers. It looks like I might just get away without any drama. But then Pauline walks over to the counter where I've been working, and she looms over me with a malicious grin. Ah, don't tell me Marco forgot about his wife on Valentine's Day. He didn't even get you anything, did he? She taunts. The look on my face is the only answer she needs. Everyone stares at me, their expressions a mix of disdainful pity and haughty triumph. How sad, says one of the clerks with an exaggerated pout. It's such a pity that married couples get bored of each other. When the relationship is new, everything is exciting and great, but men lose interest the moment they put a ring on a woman's finger. Don't feel bad, Tanya. Guys forget about Valentine's Day after they get what they want from a girl. That's the kindest thing anyone says to me. Everyone else just muses over the doomed state of my relationship and whines about what a shame it is that Marco is stuck with a wife he doesn't care about. Their words claw at my mind like nails on a chalkboard, and just when I think things can't get any worse, well, it's hardly a surprise. Everyone whirls to face whoever just spoke, and I flinch at the sight of Marco's sister walking into the shop. My brother has better things to do than throw gifts at a gold digger, Kathy says, her eyes bearing into me disapprovingly. She strolls to one of the workers and hands them a piece of paper. There's a banquet coming up soon at the palace. I'm here to pick up the requested fragrances. 2 clerks hurry to the back, rushing to get the perfumes ready. Kathy returns her attention to me, glaring down at me over her nose, even though I'm taller than her. A frightened, childish part of me wants to hide behind the counter to escape her mocking, but I force myself to hold my ground. It's amazing my brother manages to remember he has a wife at all, considering she's so unworthy of him. The Iron Claw pack is the greatest pack in the kingdom, and Marco is the most powerful shifter among us. He's the second prince of Mador, and his wolf is skilled and strong, even capable of manifesting through Marco and changing his voice. Yet you expect him to get a Valentine's Day gift for his little whore. Kathy's words are a slap across my face. I should be used to being tormented. But it hurts to be reminded of what I am to them. Only Marco sees me as more than a despicable she-wolf whore. Just when I think I'm going to combust from shame, Lily walks in. Ayana trails behind her like a faithful dog. I brace myself for Kathy to embrace her, for the two of them to team up and tear me apart. But Kathy merely glares at Lily with unrelenting disapproval. Oh look, if it isn't Marco's former tramp. I told you I would get the perfumes, Lily. You can go back to playing with my brother's feelings or whatever it is you do for fun, she growls. To her credit, Lily maintains her composure, smiling politely. It never occurred to me that Kathy would also be unfriendly to Lily. But I suppose it makes sense. Lily was Marco's fated mate, and now she's engaged to his brother. They're each dignified and elegant, but from the look in their eyes, I suspect they'd both be happy to rip each other's throats out. Nervous sweat trickles down my pale skin. I'm a mouse caught between 2 lionesses. Kathy, darling, Lily purrs. I'm glad to see you have everything under control. Please let me know if there's anything I can assist you with. And if you see Eric today, please thank him for me. Even though he's busy with royal matters, he sent me a dozen white roses for Valentine's Day. I'm so lucky to be engaged with such a thoughtful prince. She doesn't say it to me, but I know what everyone is thinking. I can see it in their eyes as they glance from Lily to me. Even Kathy shoots me a smug little scoff. I may be married to the second prince, but I'm not important. I'm not deserving. I'm not even worth a single flower. Then, There's a knock at the entrance. Silence falls over the perfumery shop as a courier enters, carrying the largest bouquet I've ever seen. The roses are not white or pink like the others, but rather a rich and sensual shade of scarlet. "Tanya?" the courier asks. All eyes fall on me as I take a hesitant step forward. "Yes?" He hands me the bouquet, and my fingers find a small, folded note between the flowers. I open it, my heart skipping as I read over the printed message. "Happy Valentine's Day. I'll be waiting for you at the Restaurant du Manet tonight." "Marco." Kathy gasps in horror at this note. "Tonight is the full moon. How can my brother?" Perhaps if I wasn't so consumed with excitement, I would have noticed the strange smirk creeping onto Ayana's lips. I can't move fast enough as I race to get ready after work. Excitement courses through me, and I can't wait to see Marco. The note said to meet him at the Dumanet, which is one of the fanciest restaurants in the capital. I stop by Marco's townhouse and rummage through the new wardrobe. I'm still not used to having so many expensive clothes to choose from, and it takes me a few minutes to pick out an outfit I think my husband will like. I chose a red Align gown, the same shade as the bouquet he sent for me. It has drooping sleeves of scarlet chiffon, a delicately fitted waistline that swoops into flowing ruffles, and pleats that resemble petals. The red fabric contrasts my snow-white skin, and I tie my sleek black hair into a graceful half-updo, pinning one of the roses from the bouquet into my hair. I try not to think of Marco's lips as I quickly apply a soft rosy shade tint over my nervous smile. I can only hope to look as lovely as a flower for him. When I arrive at the beautiful restaurant, the waiter leads me to a candlelight table. "Would you like to order, miss?" he asks. I'm hit by the smell of sweet spices and freshly cooked delights. But I shake my head gently. "Not yet. Thank you. I'm waiting for someone." The waiter walks away, attending to the various guests in the restaurant. Most of them are couples, and I try not to stare at how they swoon and celebrate together. Soft music is playing in the background as lovers drink and dine all around me. After an hour goes by, the waiter returns for the fourth time. "Miss, can I at least get you a drink while you wait? Or maybe an appetizer?" I turn him down politely. Marco didn't specify what time he would be arriving tonight, but I'll wait for him as long as it takes. A few of the other patrons notice that I'm still sitting alone. I lower my gaze to avoid their curious glances, ignoring their whispers. I fiddle with the napkin on my lap, running my fingers through the fabric in an attempt to distract myself. Another hour goes by, and my eyes keep staring at the front door whenever someone walks through it. But there's still no sign of Marco. I tell myself he's a royal, so it's only natural that he's busy. After all, I wasn't even expecting to celebrate Valentine's Day with him, so I shouldn't mind waiting. So I wait some more. My back goes stiff from sitting in the same position for so long, and my thoughts start to wander to the dark and lonely corners of my mind. After yet another hour passes, I begin to doubt myself. Maybe I'm at the wrong restaurant. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe Marco got held up somehow. Or maybe I'm just not worth it. I wrap my arms around myself as if I could shield myself from the thought. My gaze subconsciously falls onto the elegant golden ring on my finger. The round diamond sparkles in the candlelight, making me think of the glint in Marco's eyes. I never would have dreamt of marrying a prince. Never expected to be so lucky. But here I am. When Marco came into my life, he changed everything. He gave me hope, and now I can't seem to stifle it. I hope to make him happy, even if it's just for a while. I hope to make him proud and ease his troubles, even if it's just an arrangement. I hope for him to walk through that door, even if it takes all night. Hours keep trickling by, and one by one, the guests begin to leave. Waiters start clearing the tables as they wrap up for the night. I don't even know what time it is. I can feel the people in the restaurant staring at me with pity and embarrassment. With every passing minute, I feel another crack in my heart, but I stay firmly planted in my seat. He could walk. In any minute. "We're closing soon, miss," the waiter says, his patience having run out a long time ago. "I'll just wait a little longer, if that's okay." Clouds are gathering outside the Dumine by the time the restaurant manager comes by to tell me they're done operating for the day, and I need to get out so they can close up. Rain starts to pour as I'm forced to leave the restaurant. Anyone left on the streets either pulls out an umbrella and hurries away or shifts into a wolf to run off and avoid the downpour. But I have neither umbrella nor wolf, so all I can do is curl up on the sidewalk as the rain drenches me. I sit in the rain, waiting and hoping. Signed. Who? Marco's point of view. I don't know at what point I got used to having Tanya around. She's such a quiet and constant presence that in a short period of time, I became accustomed to having her in my life, as if she'd always been there. I'm used to taking care of myself, never relying on others. I don't need a wife to wait for me every night with a warm meal and a soft light. But somehow, the fact that she does it because she wants to, not because she has to, makes it that more special. Ever since she became a part of my household, Tanya has left a single light on by the entrance of the townhouse. Every evening, she prepares dinner and waits for me, leaving that light on like a beacon, in a lighthouse to guide and welcome me home. Home. I can't remember the last time I felt that way. No one told Tanya to do it. I certainly didn't ask for it, but she does it anyway. When I give an order, I expect it to be obeyed, but Tanya does things simply because she wants to help. She cares, and she makes a house feel like a home. But tonight, there is no light. It's pretty late for her to be out, but maybe she needed to buy some last-minute ingredients for dinner, or perhaps she stayed working late. Either way, I try not to let the darkness of the townhouse bother me as I make my way home. Marco. Kathy's voice pulls me out of my thoughts as my sister runs into me. "Thank the goddess, I'm glad you're home. I knew you wouldn't be foolish enough to take that little tramp out for dinner tonight." "What are you talking about?" I ask, frowning at her words. "I think someone is playing a prank on your new wife, brother," she says with a chuckle. But I don't share her amusement. I clench my hands into fists at the way she says the word wife, like it's an insult. Someone sent roses to Tanya at work today with a note to meet her for Valentine's Day dinner at the Dumine. I figured someone else must have sent them since you'd never go for a romantic dinner on a full moon. But I just wanted to make sure. Rain continues to fall around us, soaking through the night. The image of Tanya waiting at home with a light on and a home-cooked meal is replaced with the idea of her sitting in a restaurant, cold and alone, waiting for me. Concern stirs within my wolf. It takes me less than a heartbeat to decide what to do. And I let out a frustrated growl as I push past my sister and start rushing toward the restaurant. "Marco, what are you doing?" Kathy calls after me. But I ignore her. "Brother, tonight is a full moon. Have you lost your mind if you go find her?" The sound of the rain drowns out her words, and I don't slow down. Fear is not in my nature, not even tonight. I have a responsibility to my wife, and I won't abandon her, even as the magic of my wolf ripples through me. Every step is faster than the last, sending water splashing across the pavement. How long has Tanya been waiting for me? What must she think? I grit my teeth, trying to suppress my rage as claws appear on my fingertips. I feel the Lycan transformation threatening to take over, making me faster and swifter as I run through the street. When I reach the Dumine, the restaurant is closed, and there is no sight of Tanya. I curse under my breath, scanning my surroundings. Where is she? Where could she have gone? Rage and worry brew within me. What if something happened to her? It's pouring rain, and Tanya is pregnant. There's a hollowness in my chest that I don't recognize at the thought of Tanya, all alone in the cold and damp darkness. I need to make sure she's safe, Not just because I have a responsibility to protect her as a husband, but because of something else I don't quite understand. All I know is that I need to find her. I turn on my heel, ready to head back down the street and continue searching for her. But then I catch a glimpse of Red over by the sidewalk. Tanya doesn't run from the rain or seek shelter herself from the cold. She just sits there, crouched on the curb outside the restaurant, soaking and shivering. My wife is waiting for me.